If you are planning to travel across West Africa by road, watch this before you go. Hi, it's Larry again, and to my new viewers, welcome to this community, and make sure you click on the subscribe button. To my returning viewers, thank you so much. Thank you for staying glued with me. In my last video, I shared my experience on how my drone was seized by the Togo police. And yeah, a year ago, I backpacked across West Africa, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my experience and stuff you need before you plan your own trip, the documents, and how I was able to figure out my own backpack across West Africa. So I'll be making this video in two. I'm going to be sharing how I got from Lagos to Senegal. Then in the next video, I'm going to be sharing how I returned from Senegal back to Lagos. Yeah, I hope you've grabbed your popcorn and your notepad for this episode. Yeah, so before I begin my trip, I did some online research on what border I was going to be crossing from, as it was my first time traveling across West Africa. Though I've been to Benin, Togo, and Ghana, but I haven't been beyond those countries before. So that was my first time exploring basically all of the West African country. So I did a research on what border and where would I be crossing from. So I basically track all of those borders I wanted to cross from. Then after doing that, I also did a research on documents I was going to be needing. And after doing that, I also did research on what currency I was going to be spending across this country. So before you begin your trip, you should note that we have two official speaking language across West Africa, which is English and French. You know, aside from Cape Verde, they speak Portuguese. The rest of the African countries speak English and French, because basically most of these countries were colonized by the British and the French people. Yeah, so before you begin your trip, you need to get your documents, which it is either the international passport. You need this document. It is very important to have your international passport before you begin your trip. If you don't have the international passport, you can get the ECOWAS passport. Then if you don't have the ECOWAS, you can also use your national ID card, which is the NIN. Those three ID cards are valid to travel across West Africa. So make sure you have those three valid ID cards, identity cards, before you begin your trip. Then the next document you'll be needing is your yellow fever vaccine card. This card is very important to have it. It's very important to get this card, and make sure you get the vaccines, unless you'll be setting yourself up for extortion. Especially this vaccine. I remember I got this vaccine in Ivory Coast for 6,500 CFA, something I could get in my country for 1,500. So make sure you get all of this vaccine in your home country, and make sure you have all of those valid identity cards before you begin your trip. After you've done that, then you start tracking borders. You know, I traveled from Lagos up north to Dakar, Senegal. Then when I was returning back to Nigeria, I had to descend from Senegal, travel through the coastline of the Atlantic Ocean back to Lagos. So it was a very smart tracking. You know, yeah. So after you've done that, then you need to plan hotel. It is either you have an hotel or a host in each of this country you're traveling to, because if you don't plan for shelter, I'm sorry, I don't know how you're gonna survive this trip without a shelter or someone to host you or an hotel. So make sure you plan well before you begin your trip. I moved from Lagos to Benin. You know, I stamped out of Lagos into Benin. In my home country, I was told to pay 1,000 naira to stamp out. Then when I got to Benin, I was told to pay 1,000 CFA as well. But I didn't have CFA then, so I had to pay naira. So I gave them 1,000 naira to stamp into Benin Republic. Then when I got to Benin, I traveled from Benin to Lome. So I stopped at the Ilankoji border to stamp out of Benin into Togo, and I got the Togo stamp for 2,000 sefa. So I paid 1,000 sefa at the gate, the entrance gate into the country. Then when I got to get my stamp, I also paid 1,000 sefa. That's 2,000 sefa. Then I proceed to Lome. When I got to Lome, I took a night bus to Ouagadougou. The name of the company is Estisali. Yeah, this is free promo. Free promo. Yeah, so I took a night bus for 19,000 sefa from Lome to Ouagadougou. So when I got to the Togo Burkina Faso border, I stamped out of Togo for 2,000 sefa. 2,000 sefa. Then I stamped into Burkina Faso for 1,000 sefa. Then I never knew there were checkpoints on the roads, but there were about 5 checkpoints on the road. I paid twice at those checkpoints. They collected 2,000 sefa. Basically, so the total amount of money I paid on the road in Burkina Faso is 5,000 sefa. The rest of the 2 checkpoints only asked for the identity card. So I feel like those guys, those soldiers that collected money, I don't know what the money is for, but you don't want to question armed men, men with guns. You don't want to question them, for your own safety. So they don't tell you to go back to where you're coming from. So you need to be very careful, and so I got to Ouagadougou in the evening. The night bus was very fast. It was a smooth bus. So it wasn't stopping, but we had to stop on the road, for people who want to ease themselves and people who want to get food to eat. Then I got to Ouagadougou. I relaxed in Ouagadougou. I spent time with my host. We went out to various monuments and we went to do some campaign on mental health. So I was able to regain my energy at Ouagadougou. Then I started preparing to leave for Bamako, Mali, not knowing that there was still a lot of stuff to face on the road. Now, when I wanted to stamp out of Burkina Faso, I took a night bus going to Bamako for 25,000 sefa. Yeah, that's a lot of money, 25,000 sefa. And I got to the border. At the Burkina Faso border, I paid 5,000 sefa to stamp out of Burkina Faso. Then when I wanted to stamp into Mali really, really frustrated me. Like, they pissed me off. I almost missed my bus. My bus almost left me behind at Mali. So at Mali, I paid 10,000 sefa to stamp in. And I was like, these guys have no mercy. When they saw my Nigerian passport, they feel very intimidated with this passport. I don't know what we Nigerians did to Malians. This Mali police collected 10,000 sefa for me. I thought that was the end. I never knew I was thinking of another 10,000 sefa at the front. My boss almost left me, and yet these guys still held me down. They were ready to send me to jail. I don't know. But so I paid them 10,000 sefa to stamp my passport, which they did, and they gave me my passport back after I paid them. Then while going, we were stopped on the road again. The soldier entered, it was a checkpoint. The soldier entered a bus and they collected everyone identity card. So every passenger in the bus had to get down of the bus to go collect their card. We went there to pay to get a card back. I paid 10,000 sefa before I can get my passport back. It wasn't even a stamp. It wasn't anything. It was just checkpoint on the road and pay to get your passport. That was how I was frustrated in Mali. I don't just know what is wrong with the Malians police at the border. They are extorting people, and that is very, very bad. So when I got to Bamako, my host came pick me up. He was a nice guy. They welcomed me into their family home. I was given some Malian dishes that night, which tastes really good. So I spent just a night at Mali because I couldn't stay longer. So the next day, I booked my bus to Dakar, Senegal for 35,000 sefa at Bamako. So before I left Bamako, I tried to see the city. It's a developing country. It's an underdeveloped country, but they are trying. But I think the government still needs to do a lot in Mali. The people are nice people, but a lot of stuff still needs to be done. The country is very dusty. and a lot of job. Like the government needs to start working in their country, But aside from that, the people were lovely. I got to meet one of my scout friend who took me out. We had some nice dishes, before I left. So the evening when I was leaving to get my bus, thinking we were late because where my bus station was very far. The guy really drove so fast and we tried to meet up. But when I got there, I was very, very dusty. I'll show you a video. I was very dusty. I was like, oh, what kind of country is this? So when I got to the bus station, I got in my bus and I left for Dakar, Senegal. So when I got to the Mali border to cross into Senegal, it was still the same thing. I paid 10,000, not 1,000. I paid 10,000 CFA to stamp out of Mali, all because I have a Nigerian passport again. It's crazy the way this Malian treats Nigeria. I don't know. And it's not like we get collecting their wives. We don't need their wives. We have Nigerian ladies. Funny. Yeah. So I was held down to pay 10,000 CFA. I did, and I got into Senegal. When I entered Senegal, I felt like I was in a country because the atmosphere changed immediately, And when I got to the Senegalese immigration, the system was very smooth. It was nice. They were well organized. I really loved the process. It was just like when I wanted to leave Nigeria, the way we queue to get stand. So I feel like, oh, this is a developing country. I feel like I was in a country back. So, but aside from that, I paid to stamp into Senegal as well, 5,000 CFA. I don't know what that money is for, but it's worth it. The country is beautiful. They got smooth road. Everything was just so smooth in Senegal. And again, the Senegalese police are really nice. They welcome people into their country. The lady was like, what do you came to do? I told her I'm on a campaign on mental health. And she was like, oh, welcome to Senegal. So Senegal was really beautiful. I love that country. So then I drove. The bus left us to drove us to Dakar, the capital of Senegal. So aside from that, we had like 2 checkpoints on the road, and it was just police asking for us passport or identity card, and I think customs stopped us twice to check the buses as well if there wasn't any illegal goods in the country. So like I feel like the system worked there, and I think when you got a good president, or a younger president, things tend to work in the country, So I traveled all the way to Dakar. I got to Dakar the next day because throughout the night we were driving through Senegal. So we got to Dakar the next morning, and my host Miriam, she came to pick me up. Yeah, it was hard communicating because Miriam really don't understand French, English, I mean. She speaks French, so, but regardless, we were able to still communicate. She's my very good friend. So we communicated, and, our husband is the police in the country. So she took me to our friend's place to spend the night because her husband wasn't around. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know why. Maybe, she's a married woman, but yeah, so I had to pass the night at her friend's place. And to be honest, our friend, the guy was very, very nice. Senegalese people too are really nice. The guy took me out to get some nice Senegal dishes. I had a beautiful Senegalese jollof. Then I got to Senegal where I rested very well. Like I basically rested very, very well because the trip was hell. It was lengthy. And if I don't rest at Senegal, I might break down. So I took my time to rest at Senegal, So while in Senegal, I visited Sali, a town in Senegal. It's close to the beach. I met a lot of young people. We did campaign on mental health. We talked to people, visited places. Our husband also took me to see the Resonate something monument. Yeah, Resonate monument in Dakar. That big pole. I'll show you in the video. That big structure that was built by, I think, the French or something. Yeah. So it was a beautiful country. They got clean roads, tie road, everything just look well. The only thing is, I think Senegal is a bit expensive. If you want to live in Senegal, you need to make sure you work, because Senegal is expensive. Basically, everything that costs in Senegal. So just make sure you have a lot of money on you when visiting Dakar. So Dakar is very expensive. So yeah, Senegal is a beautiful country. I enjoyed my stay there, to be honest. So that's it about how I moved from Lagos to Senegal. So I said in the next video I'll be sharing with you how I moved from Senegal back to Lagos. So to be honest with you, Africa is a very beautiful continent. It's a very, very beautiful continent. The people, the culture, the kindness, strangers become friends. It's just so lovely. It's the terrible part about this is we just got bad leadership across Africa that didn't allow the system work. And I feel so sad that we Africans are suffering. It's not flowing. Everyone is supposed to enjoy, but it's sad that some people have to remain poor while some people have to remain rich, and that shouldn't be the case. Aside from that, there are some challenges while traveling. But I think most of the challenges was when I was returning back to Lagos, which I'm gonna be sharing in my next video. But the first challenge is border delay. I don't know why most of these Africans border had to delay a lot of tourists just because they want to extort them, or because they want to steal from so many people. So it doesn't really make any sense to me. As long as you've seen that these people have their passport and you've seen the stamp on their passport, you should just let them go instead of delaying people's time and wasting people's time, just like the way I was delayed at the Togo border the last time and my drone was seized. I think it doesn't really make any sense as an African, and trying to cross my own continent is a very big issue. But whenever a Westerner comes into Africa, it's always easier for them to access various countries. Why as an African, I can't really travel from here to there. It's not nice, and I think it's not fair for Africans. Too many checkpoints. Yeah, it's still the same thing as border delay, because why would I want to travel from point A to point B and I'll be seeing over 10 checkpoints in my own continent, in this same country? And if you travel to Europe, no checkpoints, you can always travel from one point to another point before you know you're in another country. But here in Africa, they barricade everywhere. You can't really travel. You can't really see your friends in the next country. So it doesn't really make any sense for me, because why would there be 10, 20 checkpoints on just before you travel from 0 to 100 kilometers, you would have seen over 50 checkpoints in the same road. It doesn't make any sense as an African. And I think Africans can do better, especially because I know this is our politics, but they can always do better for Africans. Language barrier. So one of my major challenge during my trip was language barrier, because I speak English. And I told you guys earlier that I speak just a little bit of French. So it's always hard to communicate with, pals, people. But at the same time, it's good to learn the basic French, how to greet, how to say the basic things like, please, excuse me, food, help me, all of those basic French that are simple. It's really necessary you learn those French before you leave your home country, so that it will be easier for you to talk to stranger or to approach stranger, unless only if you want to get stuck in those countries, But I think 50% of the countries in Africa speak French, especially in West Africa. We have just, I think, 3-4 West African countries that speak English. So make sure you learn this basic French before you embark on your trip. Yeah, another challenge is money extortion. Yay, God. Whenever I remember how I was extorted on the road, this West African road, I cried blood, because these people literally make me broke. They made me look poor, and they made me look like I didn't plan my trip. I planned this trip and I planned how much I was going to spend. But thank God I had extra cash and people would turn up for me, because I got community members that really turn up for me. So I'm grateful to them for making the trip a success, or else we would have got stuck. Yes. So thank to you all who helped me during my trip. It was, I really appreciate. And lastly, yeah, the one of the challenges I faced was bad roads. Here, country like Mali, the roads were very, very bad. Burkina Faso is a developing country. Like, a lot of work is going on, and I'll give it to their president, Ibrahim Traore. The guy is working so much in that country. When I was in Burkina Faso, I saw a lot of infrastructure going on, a lot of road construction going on. So, like, this is what we need. We need Africans to start working. Things need to start working in Africa. We don't have to wait before we can have access to good roads, good light, good electricity. So those are my challenges. And when you're planning your own trip from Lagos to Senegal, or from Lagos to whatever country you want to visit in West Africa, make sure you plan well, and make sure you do the necessary research before you embark on this trip. Please note that it is normal to be delayed on the road. For your own safety, take your time to understand whatever is going on with you, and whatever is going on in your surrounding before you proceed. I'm sharing my experience with you because I know how hard it is traveling across West Africa. It's very, very hard. It can be so stressful, and if you don't take time to process things, you might just slump, so take your time, relax, do your findings. And so I hope this video up. Yeah, I'm sure this video will help those who are adventurers like myself, people who love to explore new places, see new culture, try new things. Yeah, so I hope this video helps. Yeah, so that's it. So apart from that, Africa is a beautiful continent because we got so many things you all need to see, like a lot of stuff, a lot of culture shock in Africa, and people need to come explore West Africa. People need to come see. Aside from all of those challenges I have mentioned, Africans are genuinely nice. They are kind. I was a stranger in no man's land, and strangers was the one who helped me. They came through for me. So traveling is, to me, I think traveling is a school. You don't learn everything finished, but you get to learn new stuff. Like, you keep learning. So when you travel, you get to learn so much. And I think traveling has always been my comfort zone. It has always been what has been cheering me up for a few years now. And I'm glad to have embarked on this trip on mental health. So that was how my trip from Lagos to Senegal went, and that was how in total, I think it cost me 300K to travel from Lagos to Senegal. Was it 300K? Yeah, it was 300K. I think stamp cost me 120 or 130K. Then transport from Lagos to Senegal cost me over two something. So basically, it's roughly 400,000. And I think that's fair enough, because if you want to fly from one country to another within Africa, it's more than that. I think you'll be paying over 800, 900 US dollars to take a flight from, imagine, let's just say from Lagos to Ghana, you'll be taking a flight that will cost you over $1,000. Why backpacking or traveling by road might just cost you a few cash. So yeah, it's really nice for those who want to explore. Make sure you do your research, and make sure you plan well, because these shows are not good. I won't lie. Make sure you have the necessary document, because those are the things that can set you up for extortion. If you don't have the necessary documents, I'm sorry, you will be extorted on the road, and you feel so sad. You feel so frustrated. I'm only sharing this to those who want to embark on a trip from Lagos to Senegal. So make sure you plan well, make sure you do research, make sure you reach out. And if you need any other help on how I did you can always put it in the comment section. When I see the message, I will respond to it. If you have any other question you want to ask concerning how I travel from Lagos to Senegal, put it in the comment section. We are one Africa, we are brothers, and we should live as one. Yeah, so thank you for watching this video to the end. I know some of you won't watch to the end, but to those who watch to the end, thank you so much for watching my video to the end. And in the next video, I'm gonna be sharing with you all how I returned from Senegal back to Lagos, though it was a very brutal one. So I'll be sharing in the next video. So make sure you watch the next video. All right, so if you watch it to this end, if you watch it to this current, thank you so much and peace out.